knucklehead. Well, it's the beginning of March. We're here, and two birds celebrated it by sitting on my car and flopping on it before the show.
Yeah,
nice. But always on here, we love to have guests back. Well, plenty more back, our favorites, our soon-to-be favorites. But I always like to say, we could go on, like Greg and I could probably go on for 5 hours, and you'd be storming the studio and revolting. But this day and age, the attention spans aren't that high, so, we aim for about 45 minutes to an hour. But I always say, it's like, before we're rudely interrupted by that, like the Animals album, we're always glad to have people back. And Greg, take it away. I'm done.
All right. Well, speaking of bird flop, we have our guest, Rich. No, just kidding. My friend Rich Fiordeliso back again, and we're going to discuss.
Glad to be here.
We're going to have, once again, I got you to do the introduction because I don't want to pronounce your last name.
But you know what? We're at the end of a bisexual year. I looked that word up. It means leap year. Any year with a leap year reference. Bisexual. As Word Daily says to me, bisexual.
This will be our new one now. Greg will be presenting a new word.
I'm gonna start talking in all kinds.
Did you
of
ever do that
words.
in school? Like when we were in grade school, they would give us words to do, and you would just have to do the something up. So I got the word orca, which is a killer whale. So I just go up there and I go, orca was about the 100th Bruce the Shark and Jaws, and see you later.
I used to love vocabulary in school. I was really good at it.
Or I would do puns like zealot. What do? You go to use car lot, you zealot.
Yeah. Nice.
You know what I hated about grade school?
I hated everything.
Those rotten nuns.
Yeah.
They were miserable.
See,
go ahead.
We had one. The rumor was that the principal had a paddle.
Right.
We never saw it, though.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We had that one teacher, though, in 8th. I had her for 7th and 8th grade, Sister Columba. Or something like that.
She's the one that picked me up off the ground.
Yeah, but you know what?
I've seen her. She goes around. She takes pictures on the music seat.
But you know what? She was so cool with me. She let our band play in the auditorium. I don't know if you remember that one. There was a band remember Gary Stenslick and some other guys, and we did a play.
Well, Joe Kuby was playing drums.
Yeah, and we did a play or something.
I played keyboards for that.
Yeah,
that was my first gig ever.
And she let us play in the auditorium, and I remember she bought my stupid little comic books that I made, and I sold them for a dime. She gave me a dime.
Well, they confiscated by National Lampoon.
But she was very encouraging. She probably saw, okay, this kid's a freak. I'm going to... So, who knows? She was really cool to me. I mean, she was a good experience after...
That was...
the 6th grade.
For me, there was Sister Marion, who we heard was a horror.
Yeah.
You were terrified of her. But I could notice, she actually, when you got to know her, she was really cool. And she would laugh at my jokes and, be different. But you were rudely interrupted, Rich. What were you saying? Go on.
What the heck was
I
saying?
Those evil nuns.
Oh, she got mad at me, and actually, this is 7th grade. I'm not a small guy. She picked me up. I think my feet were dangling. I swear to God. She went like this, grabbed me by the shirt, and just picked me up. She got so mad at me.
Like putting the cat out.
See, now I heard stories from McQuaid.
Remember Chrissy?
Oh, yeah. That's what I meant. The 6th grade experience.
I heard stories. I don't want to be an X-rated show. We are a podcast.
Well, and our high school experience, the Christian Brothers could really rip on you too, man. They could start.
Well, we had one. I didn't go to McQuaid, but my brother did, and a lot of people did, and like Chico Nos, who they loved afterwards. But they said what this guy would do, and he would dress up, like have his football pants coach. He would knock people on their butt during football practice. Mm-hmm. If he got mad at you in class, he would not pick you up. He would grab the desk, pick you into the desk up.
Oh, my God.
And they had one guy. This is how different. This guy would be in jail now.
Where did you go to school?
Mooney at St. Theodore's.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Great.
Oh.
But the carbon copy of
there was, which is true, and there's actually, when I went to Fisher, there were a lot of Kearney people. But, so, there was a gym teacher called Ken Jones. Now, picture 50s DI. I guess what he did when he got mad, he'd have somebody stand there, he would whip a basketball at your face. Now imagine this guy be on the news, you'd be called away.
Oh, yeah. You can't get away with that today.
But I'm of two minds of this. Kind of like Two-Face here, Harry. But, you
Flip
know.
the coin for Greg's answer here.
I'm of two minds of this. No, but when you're that age, you need the discipline. I mean, you don't need the corporal end of it so much, but man, you know, if you're just allowed, look what's going on today with the school stuff.
Yeah, the students are hitting the teachers.
And it's like they're running the classroom, you know, and the teachers can't do anything. And I hear teachers complain all the time. It's like, you want to enter into the profession, but you're not allowed to do anything. You can't help them. You can't touch them. You can't do nothing.
Right.
No.
Well, touch them, I don't mean, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
We had to worry about that more in my school with some of these characters.
But you know, it was a Catholic Polish kind of school. I mean, it was an interesting, and many of us did end up going to Carney. And you went to Edison,
They wouldn't brainwash me to go to Carney.
but like I said before, there were a couple people. Estelle Konarski, you remember her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I see her on Facebook. She's come to some shows. I mean, some of these people also went to high school with us. And so I've known them effectively since maybe 4th grade. You know, I mean, 2 or 3 people, and it's like, holy crap.
Known me since 4th grade.
Yeah. And that's a long time, you know, usually you lose track of people.
Like your versions of my dear friends Sammy DeLucia and Rob Caesar, who I've known since 1st grade. Because I lived in the city, and I went to OLPH my first year. I remember some altar boy hit me in the leg with a piece of stale bread one time out of a window. Hurt.
Wow,
yes. It was. But we moved, and then I met them in 1st grade. And I like that where you have, you know, they know all your foibles, all your change. It's nice to go. I just had lunch with them over the summer when I'm sitting there going, could you imagine when we were kids that we'd be sitting here in our 30s? So, shut up. You know, but this age, we're still friends and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy dyes his hair now.
I used to call OLPH Our Lady of Perpetual Trauma, because that's what her high school, the grammar school reminded me.
I hated that place. The nuns were mean there.
Yeah.
You know, it was weird.
They were mean at St. Stan's too.
Yeah. Oh, St. Stan. I used to love the festivals and stuff. Yeah, and that's one thing I remember because I used to live on Laser Street when I was a kid. The festivals. And remember, like the drugstore, the way across the street from it. There's like a drugstore or something. I used to get my comic books there.
Like a Rexall or something.
Yeah, I used to get my comic. There was Andy's Candies, and there was a drugstore that had the rock candy. Now, rock candy,
that was Andy's ice cream at the time.
Boys and girls, rock candy was actually candy salt rocks.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about...
I remember that stuff, yeah.
You know, it's not as daring as it seemed. It was like, what are you rebelling against? What do you got?
I went to the store the other day and got some rock. What do you
And I don't know this man. What's this going? But one question I was going to ask you, too, growing up... Now, say I traveled back in time. This is our, you know, like Peter Potamus, the little elf with the python helmet and the balloon. And I went back to like circa 70s for you're going out for a weekend. Like first, what would be like how would it be like going to what would be like the venue, probably the type of band, the atmosphere?
Well, the 70s was, you know, Brick and Nail, all those disco-y places, you know, right?
I played Brick and Nail, yes.
Yeah. I mean, there
was
like,
Orange Monkey. I hardly ever went.
That's the one I missed. That's the one I've heard of that a lot.
Yeah.
It's the one somehow I just missed, I think.
Well, it depends on the music you were into. So if you like certain music...
I was like 8.
Well, yeah, but if you liked certain stuff, you went to Red Creek. If you liked more of that... you know, the country vibe or the roots rocky stuff, Red Creek was the place to go.
If you like beer, you go to VI on Thursday night.
Freaking VI. Oh my God.
Now what kind of beer, you remember it all? Because I'm thinking like the good old like Schlitz or something.
Varsity and
Genesee Cream Ale. Believe it or not, that was the drink. That was the beer we drank back then.
I won that as a gag prize at a stag party one time.
You know what was cool about those?
That was me.
The Varsity Inn. It was on, what was it? We said no. It's out there in Henrietta, right by the bridge there, by Jefferson. So anyway, it used to be. What was it after that?
It was Casablanca, was it?
No. After it was the Playpen, Art Stock's Playpen. Okay, so when it was the VI, I think it was it Thursday nights?
Thursday nights, $2 to get in, and all the beer you can drink.
They would just fill beer glasses, probably like 12-ounce or 8-ounce cups, and just put them on the bar. And he just walked up and he just kept
it was
grabbing.
Incredible.
And we used to get
I
pretty
used to
messed
tell
up.
my mother I was broke. I didn't make any money. I was
right.
broke. And I'd tell her, Ma, it's $1 to get in and 50 cents a drink. I can only have 2 drinks. Little did you
What
know.
a sneak.
It was $2 to get in and all the beer you can drink.
Oh, my God.
And, man, there's times we used to get thrown out in the snow. All of a sudden, the bouncers would
Oh,
just
yeah,
throw
we
us
did.
out
We
in the
got
snow.
thrown out.
I had the
We
one.
didn't even do anything wrong. We were just laughing our ass off in there.
My one experience with that, I lived in Albany for a year. And there's a
I do
place
remember that.
There was one place in Albany that would have like the $5 and it was all the Michelob you could drink. But there's one place called the Long Branch.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing was, like,
love
I
that
guess
place.
one of the frats, though, thought it was their bar. And I knew people who were members of the ski club. And we went in there, and they start a legit, like, bar brawl.
Where was this?
Just Long Branch in
By
Albany.
MCC. Oh,
In
I'm
Albany,
thinking
this
of the
is
word.
Albany.
You're thinking about Longs.
Longs.
Remember that bar?
So,
Yeah.
literally,
Oh,
me and
man.
my friend are like, we're not really fighters or whatever. I'm looking, okay, where's the fat guy so we can hug each other, pretend we're fighting? But literally, it was like a John Wayne Western.
Wow.
The bouncers picked us up and threw us out the door. So, no, what was Longs?
It was by MCC.
Did you have a short wait to
Longs
get
was
in?
on
Yeah.
East
Oh.
Henrietta Road before they revitalized that whole thing. There's
And
nothing there
It
anymore.
was kind of just a shack of a place, if I remember right.
It was a great neighborhood type of bar, like,
Yeah.
and they had a piano in there, and I used to play the piano when I was drunker now and stuff.
You know what I do? I do as a memory exercise every year. I will write down establishments that are no longer there that when I grew up with. Every year the pages go
Yeah.
long.
I know.
And I think that's part of the atmosphere. And people like go down. Like I remember when I went to the Port Deluxe or Lux Tavern was
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the things.
Oh, yeah.
Last time I went there was when I went in the bathroom and people are, snorting coke and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to get murdered. I just don't want to be in a place like this. I've been in bars where I've seen this stuff, and you don't want to be around it. And I think people want to go to, like, you go to a neighborhood bar within quote unquote stumbling distance.
Yeah.
And it's a good atmosphere. You know people. You know it's a cool thing. It could be a shack.
I used to go to Norton's all the time.
Norton!
And that Centurion place that was on Goodman.
Centurion,
We played
yeah.
that place a few times.
I played there a few
That's
times.
the one.
yeah.
I told Mike Murray this. It's like he told me where it was, sort of. It's been brought up on the show. I missed that one somehow.
Yeah. It's a
When
cool
I was
place.
in the band, I think it was Masquerade or Vegas, one of those two was with Lex Byers. We played there on a New Year's Eve from 10 at night until 6 o'clock the
Holy
next
crap.
morning. It was,
Holy
it was
mackerel.
crazy.
I
And the
had
place
it-
was packed the whole time.
Yeah.
People go in and out, in and out.
But you think a lot of that
Bar
too,
hopping.
and I do remember like coming home late at nights, like some of the bars and clubs there, because Kodak was like really booming, and all the trick workers would go off, so this was a lot of the crowd in the area.
But we have a better world now because we have less freedom. Don't you know that?
I started. You actually gave me a revelation. I'm like you're crammed and you're my Norton. Norton.
Hey, Ralphie boy.
Get a bad guess. Bang, zoom.
yeah.
No, and it was. I mean, well, things. That's the one thing I think with life you have to do. One of my friends was saying, I noticed a lot of my friends are miserable. I'm like, I'm the same. And I tried to comment, and I said, I think we get to a point where you look back and you look like, now I think the world's nuts now myself.
Oh, it's
Maybe
crazy.
I'm wrong.
It's
And I'm not
crazy
like
as the
one of those
drivers out
back in
there,
your
too.
day. I'd probably be, honestly, if it wasn't for like modern medicine, I'd probably be dead. And he'd be hosting the show.
I mean, history kind of tends to repeat itself. I mean, you had the delinquents of the 50s, and they were upstarts, and what are we going to do with this kid? And it had nothing to do with race or anything. It was just that age, and there was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And now you got a different group of folks, and then they're wild in high school, and they're rebels. And, but the way you're brought up, I mean, all those old things, not having limits on the bars were later, and I don't know, it was
Hey,
just
Greg,
it
I
was
got
just
one
a
for
different
you.
world. It was just a different world.
I got one for you.
What's
Remember the
that?
time we were walking home from St. Stanislaus, and we used to carry our book bags.
Right.
Remember back then?
Yeah.
Maybe it looked a little nerdy, but we had book bags. We didn't have backpacks like they do today. We had book bags.
Yeah, that's
I had
why-
one too, yeah.
That's why we don't have back problems. All these kids are going to walk around and have
That's right.
scoliosis by the time they're 30.
So some kid from across the street, some Franklin kid, wanted to start a fight with me. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, so we were fighting, duking it out, and this cop shows up, he takes off. It ended. I mean, nothing happened.
Yeah,
but
well, they just figure kids are going to be kids, I guess. I mean, you know.
I mean, for no reason, this kid wanted to start a fight with me.
Well, I got a couple snowballs to the back of the head from Franklin guys.
I got
coming
egged.
in.
One of the bigger one, I remember I got egged on Freshman Friday by like some kids, because we had a lot of like really bad, tough kids in the neighborhood. But it sounded like you grew up by me, you two guys, because I grew up on Laser Street.
Yeah, we
did, pretty close.
Remember Wojaks? And
yeah.
They, you know, there was regions.
Wojaks.
Well, I grew up
Wojciech, yeah.
Norton and Hudson, I grew up, and then we moved to Carter, 4 houses away from Greg.
Yeah.
And that's why we know each other so well.
And I know that because actually one of my friends from a comic book shop used to live down Carter Street. So I remember that. So, I used to live on Stanton.
Okay.
Right the other way.
Stanton Lane.
Yeah.
That's
right across from Ukrainian church.
That's my biking route. I cross Ridge and I go through all those little streets.
My brother lives on Stan Ridge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Still, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for years.
He's a cool guy. I remember he was funny, man. He's still funny. I've seen a couple of your gigs. He really kind of went more hip. I mean, he didn't stay in that 50s thing. He is a pretty hip guy.
Well, I go to Dombrowski's Polish Market.
Yep.
Down there, but it's funny because my dad, especially with dementia, but always like one time Dombrowski goes, "I like your father. He like from the old country." Good man.
Oh, sure. You had the bakeries and you had
Man Joan Bakery.
Library.
Remember?
My first library was right on the corner across from St. Stan's.
Gone now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We used to just go there. I mean, it was nice to have
it was a great library.
Story time.
It was so easy to get whatever you had to get done. If you had to go look something up, you just cross the street and hide there for a while. Your parents, you'd go home later or whatever, and it was kind of a safe place. And and it's too bad it's gone now.
No, libraries are getting weird. I got to the point like the other week, and I'm going, it's never been. This is nuts. And things turn around, so we'll see. But what is the good? You had some stories about something before we started. I told you to shut up.
Oh, yeah. I can't. Do you think I can remember them?
Of course. That's why we always have the best stories before.
Oh, I know.
Well, we were talking about your meeting Debbie.
Oh,
Pedalino,
yeah.
An old neighbor of Rich's. He went to lunch with her, so you can talk about that.
Yeah, we hadn't seen each other in years, and I see her on Facebook. Thank God for Facebook.
I'll have to look her up.
Yeah. Yeah. Her name. She's under Jean and the. Facebook page.
Jean,
yeah. Oh. She changed her first name because of being a school teacher, so she wanted to change her first name, whatever.
Was she on the wanted list or something?
No, I don't know. She loved teaching, and she retired from it, and I don't know.
That's good, though. She probably taught at a good time, because...
she taught in, was it Wayne County, Ontario?
Oh, well, see, that makes a big difference. Their school system is freaking great.
Yeah.
From my girlfriend's son went there, and I went to a bunch of their stuff. They have a very good, you can say all the 315 things you want.
Yeah, that's right.
But they have a really good school system.
Well, I can't say 315 stuff because I know how the Cena Geneseo is, and a lot of my friends are.
But I mean, they don't, if something's going on with your kid, you find out about it. And, they get the things. They don't just, don't worry about it. And they don't have so much politics, I guess. I mean, obviously there's going to be some, but from what I saw,
that's what I enjoy.
They care about the
If
students.
there's something I liked about school, like there was, you knew, like sometimes, like somebody would say I'm a Democrat or a Republican, a teacher, they wouldn't bring the crap into the classes.
Yeah.
The only time I got, one teacher got mad at me was when John Lennon was assassinated, and she claimed to be a big Beatles fan, and she said, well, McCartney and Lennon wrote most of the songs, but Hey Jude, Harrison wrote that. So I went up afterwards and told, she's like, no, you're not right. I'm like, Then she's like, you're mad at me because I'm telling you that I didn't do it in front of class.
Yeah, no kidding.
But now I'm thinking of that, lunchtime pizza, too, that sloppy, weird-looking pizza we used to get that was...
I guess pretty bad.
No, right now you yearn for it. It's like one of those... Yeah, it was basically bread with sauce. The memories.
Yeah.
But what was, the first time, the band you played in? When did you play together?
Yeah, Greg and I did play together. I was in bands before he was, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just...
Well, you're older.
Yeah, it's probably why.
I was a late bloomer.
Yeah, I played it for a band called Parsley Garden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Tony
remember?
DiPasquale, right?
Tony DiPasquale, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Mathis on drums. These guys, I have no idea. I haven't seen them in years. I think Tony passed away.
What was the parsley, Rich? What was that?
I don't know. No,
It's like Grady's Magic Salad.
Parsley Garden was a short story. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Howie Goldwasser gave that band that name, but he wasn't in the band.
Huh.
Paul Rapley was the bass player.
Oh, yeah, Paul.
Paul, yeah.
The quiet man.
Oh, he was quiet. Yeah, he didn't move a foot. I remember he just played his bass and never moved an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a good player, though.
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
And then, I remember coming down to hear you guys practice. That's what I started coming down to hear him practice because I was taking my drum lessons and I want to be in a band. Hey, can I come here, guys? I was like a little pain in the ass. So, and you'll agree, right?
Yeah, no.
But when it came time, I jammed with him in the Subway band, I think. Well, no, did we do the organ drum duo thing first?
We used to, you and I used to get together and just jam in the basement.
Yeah, because he had like a fake book.
I did have a fake book, but then we did some jamming and stuff, and I would do some riffs, and that's how I learned how to do riffs, by listening to Jimmy Smith records, because I played the organ, the B3.
Yep.
And we would just play, and we kind of like felt each other, you know what I mean? It's like, he knew my style, I knew his, and we just kind of, we had a groove together.
Yeah, we were kind of doing like the Lee Michaels thing.
Yeah,
with just the drums and keyboard.
Remember the song the instrumental I made up? Meatloaf.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You have it? Do you have that anywhere?
It's called
in your head?
Nowhere, just in my head. I remember the melody, and I used to just jam off of it.
People don't realize, like some of my friends, like one of my friends from years ago, there's actually, his neighborhood, he wrote a song called Queen of England. Because in his neighborhood, there's these kids, their mom was really, really weird. So he goes over their house one time, and they go, behold, the Queen of England. She came down dressed like a wedding gown. Mm-hmm. And he wrote a song about it, but he lost it. He can't remember it. People don't get that. Like, people think, they know it all. No, they don't, you forget stuff.
Yeah. We had remember that record we did on Calkins Road?
Soap records or something?
I don't remember what it was, but but we
Dick
did
Jans. Remember Dick Jans?
We did 2 songs, and I had the record for the longest time. I probably still have it. But
I have the record.
You should lend it to me, and I can put it on the computer.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't bad. Summertime and Love Is Here to Stay.
Love Is Here to Stay by Jerry Mandel. He wrote that song. Yeah.
So, but so him and I did this duo thing, and we do like some retirement parties. I remember we did one for his father.
We had to bring a Hammond down the basement stairs.
Oh my God! Yeah. That's one spot where I think technology has really been. Thank you, because now you can just tuck it under your arm and go.
I play the SK Pro, the Hammond SK Pro, and it really does sound like the Hammond. It's got the Leslie electronically and everything, and it's a great keyboard. Plus, it does piano and strings and all the other instruments, too. It's just amazing.
So tell us about your 200-page instruction book.
Well, it's the book that came with it is 67 pages. I said, I can't learn from this. What the hell is this book? I can't learn from this.
What did they cover? And that's a lot of pages still, though.
It's a lot of pages, but doesn't cover half of what that keyboard can do.
Oh, wow.
And there's an online manual that's like 600 pages. And that's finally I got off the ground with that keyboard because I was going to send it back and say, I can't learn this thing.
Months later, hey, I got it.
No. It got to the point where I've had people calling me and asking for my expertise on it. And I got a guy from Seattle, where is it?
Washington.
Seattle, Washington, calling me and because of the time change, it was like 1:00 in the morning.
There is a Seattle, New Jersey, just so we don't. It's not that.
There's a lot of Rochesters all over the place.
So
he paid me $75 for my advice. It was cool. He didn't want to take the time to do it like I did. I took weeks and months to learn that keyboard and programming and stuff.
Which I'm very impressed with because none of us grew up in the whole computer thing.
Oh, no.
And for you to embrace that and go that way, I really give you you know, people
Well,
go, "Oh, I'm
thank
too
you.
old. I can't figure this out." You know, and
I
you
figured
said,
it
what I
out.
think
"I'm going
part
to
of
get
it
this."
is,
You know,
because like one of my friends said, I actually had fun as a kid because my brother was in a band. He got a Moog, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I just like playing with it, get all the
Oh, yeah,
noises
yeah.
and everything. But one of my friends said the reason he learned how to play was because he younger was programming computers, and he said it was the same thing type of thing. But I think the problem we have, and I admit I have this myself sometime, is when you're introduced to this, it looks so intimidating. You know, you go, there's
Right.
no way.
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It
you have
is
to start with
intimidating.
one thing at a time and just build on it, because I call that the inbox syndrome. All you're doing, you're seeing all the, how am I going to learn all this stuff? And if you just go one thing at a time, eventually the inbox goes down and the outbox goes up. You know,
And I found like that even from like my job, like with learning how to do some of the stuff. Just that what you do is like you try to explain, then you let people try. You go slow one after another. 'Cause
Right.
I've worked like actually like a couple seasonal jobs, and like people, okay, you know, it's really easy, but it's like, I know you've been doing it for 10 years, but I've never done it before.
Yeah.
But you see like first thing, so I want to play this. Okay, here's this book here. Now, oh no, this volume 1.
did you start right from the beginning and go to the end, or did you jump around?
I think I jumped around because I wanted to learn how to split the keyboard, how to get this sound and that sound. And then you want to split. You said, well, the octave's too low, so how do I raise the octave on the lower part of the keyboard? And you have to find all this stuff.
Right.
Kind of jumped around like that. You know?
There was always.
I wonder why they wouldn't put that in the original.
I don't understand because it was too much. A book would have to be so thick. And
I mean, even when
they
you
want to
buy,
save the trees.
yeah, right. Hug a tree. But you know, they do that with a lot of things. They'll have a quick start manual, and they'll give you the
Right,
basics.
right.
And then if you want to read the rest of it, you know, okay, so here's how you turn it on. Here's how you do a couple. I mean, if you're smart and you don't already know some of the other stuff, it's good to get.
I
that.
admit, like some stuff though, like my dad. I remember when I was young, I'm like, wow, you know, you always think your parents are gods.
Right.
Like, wow, this guy, he knows tons about cars. Then I realized later when I got older that hit it with a hammer doesn't solve every problem. But then sometimes instructions will get you, because I setting up a VCR, and I
Right.
actually have a Region 2 one just for some, you know, get some cheaper stuff on it. You can't play it. It's like English things. And you look at the manual and like, how? Then you just go set it up. It's like the old idea about, okay, there's a recipe. Some people, there's 16 steps. You'll go 1, 2, 3. Just dump everything. You know?
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, speaking of cars, like, you know, some of those older mechanics, I mean, you got to love some of these guys. They'll open a hood, they'll stick their head in there while it's running, and you go, yep, I think I know what it is. I mean, some of these guys just know by how
They are, like,
the
there's-
car sounds, what the problem
Or
is.
like you'll call them, like I'll diagnose my car, take it in, and it'll be something completely different and everything. But I just thought about it now. That was my dad's hit it with the hammer theory. He
Yeah.
worked in the motor pool in the Army.
Wow.
That's what I'm thinking about.
I would have thought he would have shot it first.
He drove a tank into a lake by mistake one time.
Whoa.
At Kodak, we called that when you had to use the hammer, the BFH. Pull out the BFH. You know what that stands for. I'm not going to say it in the air.
We are like a podcast, not a radio show, but you
I
don't
know.
have to do it. But one of my funnies was my dad at Kodak, and he worked at Kodak Park. He actually shut the computers off one time. He thought it was a light switch.
Oh, my God.
So once he didn't get in trouble. I don't know, it must have been okay. So what's he do? He puts the thing in the suggestion box, label the light switch.
Oh, label? He probably made about $2,400 doing it.
Wow.
You know what I used to love though, because he would do, but you know, when you're like somebody brings up, well, there's a podcast, and I'm like, well, I know about that. You know, something, but he would go like, I remember going to see Raiders of the Lost Ark with him down at Westgate Plaza.
Oh.
He would literally point at the film and go, okay, there's scratch, there's dust, and I guess like he had some, like I guess one from the heart, from the Coppola flop. He's like going, we have a $40 million film we're working on here. And he would get cool films like for me to take the class. Remember the big reels?
Yeah,
Like the moon landing, you get all the big reels and have to change them. Stuff like that.
Speaking of that kind of film stuff, I mean, real quick, I watched Sky Captain the other day. But I watched it with a commentary from the producer. It boggles my mind how much crap is involved with putting a film together. Because the guy that did the original 6-minute film, he did a 6-minute little promo. Kerry something or other, I forget. I don't know his last name. So he does a 6-minute film, and it's got like the airplanes and couple of the scenes. And he got this producer guy interested, and then he had to go find funding, and then he had to go find this, and then he had to get Jude Law, and then months go by before and then they get that, and then they get the music, and then they get the computer thing, because they had to do all this computer bank stuff. They had to do a lot of stuff from scratch, because this was like one of the first computer-generated movies. Because he said the entire movie is a green screen room.
You mean those dinosaurs weren't real?
Nope. But, I mean, everything, with the exception of maybe if they're sitting at a desk or something, there were very few props. Everything was, you had to just imagine that it was there.
Oh, God.
You know, actually hold these thoughts for a couple weeks for St. Patty's Day, because when Freeview, one of our guests, I worked on movies. I did movies with her. I produced a couple of movies. We worked on local movies. And I'm picturing in my head how long it takes. Right. One of our movies would take like 2 years.
Oh, yeah,
man. Time, especially because it was, local. It wasn't like, but you have to raise money. You have to do one shot might take like 4 or 5 hours. I'll just there was one shot I was like doing a Hitchcock cameo as a dessert. We call it the Leaning Tower of Lemon, because you could see if you watched it. But that's a good question to bring up to musicians and everybody else. You think we're going to get to the point like pretty soon, a couple of years? Hey, there's a new movie starring John Wayne. Or like, are we just going to get like all these AI groups and all this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it can be done, but I don't know if anybody really wants to. I mean, the way they used Laurence Olivier in that, they altered his voice and stuff. He had to get permission from the estate.
And they used Brando, too, in Superman Returns.
Right. And, you got to get all this permission. There's a lot of legal stuff. But, I mean, I guess it can be done if you like the nostalgia of it. But what was cool about that movie is because it had that mix. I mean, this is a modern person, and he's doing a nod back to the pulps, the pulp magazines. He's doing the whole, it's kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a little bit of that in there. There's a little bit of the movie serial stuff in there. It's a really cool concept. I mean, for you and I mean, I think that movie is like the perfect handbook. And if you look at, even the producer said it in the commentary. He said there's a lot of nods to certain things. If you don't know what they are, you'll miss them. Like, there's a scene when the big robots come in. Number one, the big robots were in that Superman cartoon, right, from the 40s, and they show a scene where the police are raising their rifles, and there's machine guns, and there's 3 of them, and the arms come up, and the guns, that's right out of that cartoon. So and that's from the 40s. So this Kerry, he just came up with this whole amalgam of weird things, and it's really cool because it's like a bygone era, but so modernly done. It's new. It's not new.
Rich is looking at us like, I know it's Carnival of Randos. Let's get back to the music.
I don't care.
Okay, I'm done.
No, I was thinking about H.G. Wells and the First Men in the Moon.
Oh, yeah, those are awesome.
Those are great movies and books. And
actually, it was just, because I got that Harryhausen set, it doesn't have First Men on the Moon. I just got that out of the library.
Oh, really?
It still holds up. But we're going to talk about stars. How is playing in the 80s like?
Playing in the 80s.
Music, yes. You guys playing out and everything.
The music scene kind of...
Well, I was traveling then. I was on the road then.
So. It kind of like died in Rochester for some reason. It was getting real bad in the 80s. The 70s is when we were playing 5-6 nights a week. It was crazy.
That was the thing in those days. In a lot of places, you could make, like Long Island, you could make 6 figures just staying at home playing every night of the week.
That's what Twisted Sister did.
Yeah.
A lot of those
and
bands.
the Good Rats. I guess the thing with the difference between them and the Good Rats, and we all know the Good Rats. Remember they would play here like every week?
Yeah.
We opened up for the Good Rats.
Did they do the thing about show your boobies for a rat when you played?
Oh, yeah, they did.
And you see these biker guys going, yeah, it's my girl.
You know what Peppy did one time when we played at MCC. We opened up for the Good Rats, and he took a beer bottle and went like this, and he's spraying the crowd with beer. It was awful. I'm glad I wasn't out there getting sprayed with beer.
The only time that happened to me,
it's like a punk
freaking Stephen Piercy from Rat poured a beer on me because he got it out and he poured it. And actually, I actually had one of the guys from Rad on my Facebook thing, and I told him, he's like, that's not like Percy not to pound the beer. But then, you're a kid, and you go home, and you're, like, covered with...
Right.
Most of the time, because we probably drink it a lot beforehand. My whole thing was, I'm not going to say my parents didn't know, like, rock at all or anything. So I was like, well, those are these thugs that just poured beer on us when we were walking to our car.
Sure they did.
Yeah.
But, like, in the 80s, I was doing the traveling thing. I got into a show band, and I was doing the Holiday Inns in Florida, and I got to go to Europe and all that stuff. So that was like a great couple of years for me.
Great experience.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I bet it was.
But you were talking earlier about playing at we played at MCC in high school. Do you remember also playing at RIT for the deaf? Remember that?
Well, we played for the frat houses.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Jerry...
Remember?
What was
Jerry
his name?
Wolf.
Jerry Wolf, yeah. He was the booking agent we had.
And U of R also, the frat houses at U of R.
Oh, yeah, man. We used to go there and we'd play these keggers and stuff. And
we were in high school playing.
Oh, yeah, we were fine.
I'm just laughing because, like where you're in high school, if you go to a college party, you're like, oh, we're big guys, right?
Yeah.
So one of my friends is like, oh, yeah, we have an in at a frat party at RIT. So I guess somebody pranked him. We get down there. These guys, he's in front, they grab him, they turn him upside down and start funneling him.
Wow.
I'm like running.
Oh my God. I remember my dad used to bring us to the gig because he used to rent my cousin's truck because I had the B3 to move. You can't put that in a car. So
but we're gonna try.
Yeah, no. So then, he would get all the equipment in the pickup truck. Yeah. Right, we'd drop it off, go home, come back and pick us up, and he went to the wrong frat house, and he opened the door and it was dark in there, and he's stepping all over. He's stepping on bodies.
Yikes!
He's stepping on. Yeah, you know what was going on there?
What?
It was an orgy going on.
Oh,
there.
man!
It was dark. He couldn't see.
I don't know how this happened.
And 2 hours later, he showed up.
When I was a kid, there's a house across from a street when I was a kid, and somehow one of the frats rented it from RIT. And I remember when they had a toga party, and they're all toga. But the thing was, they were the nicest people. Because they would come,
toga.
There'd be crap all over the place. But after they got over their hangovers in the morning, they would clean up.
Oh,
They'd
good.
be fine.
Yeah.
And it was like the old days where they never bothered anybody or anything.
Yeah, those were fun times. But we did do this one at RIT also. And I remember they said you got to play really loud and ramp up the bass because for the people that had hearing impairment that they felt things.
Was that our band?
You feel vibes.
Yeah,
you feel vibes.
This.
Yep, I do. Yeah,
Subway.
Yep.
Oh wow.
We played at RIT in the freaking cement room there.
Hey, you remember something I didn't remember?
That's right. Well, that's before I smoked pot.
I got really. That's one of the most drunkest I've ever got at a concert was at U of R with the Ramones too. And it was like vodka and lemonade. And I always remember that because that's the last time I saw Uncle Roger. We were hanging out. Actually, we were talking about...
he was a cool guy.
He was the greatest guy.
Yeah.
And the thing was, it's like we were
peace.
talking about... We were talking about Van Halen. It was just when Hagar joined, it's Van Hagar now. And he was saying, I like 5150s. But he was like, Raj, bless him. It's tragedy. It's like the nicest, coolest guy you ever meet.
I remember going there at midnight or so, or I'd ring the bell. Hey, it's me. It's Greg. And he'd like, oh, sure, come on up. And you can go up there and like, it was a big deal for me to go to a radio station and sit there and watch.
Was that on Layton Avenue then?
Yep.
So I was driving cab for a while, and I'd pick him up there.
Oh yeah.
And he'd call the cab company.
Wow.
That's how I.
So
know
I
him.
actually have. I won the one time when I was a kid. So you do the call-ins and get the number. Mm-hmm. I won the one time. I won Outlaws and New Riders of the Purple Sage tickets for Buffalo.
Wow.
He had to go pick them up there and everything. And they announced my name on the radio, and they got it wrong. It was cool. It wasn't Raj, though.
That's what I'm talking about. Bands like that would be Red Creek all day long. And then the disco scene would be more like the Brick and Nail and the Spenders and all that kind of stuff.
There was that one on West Henrietta Road, too, behind Jay's Diner.
the Parliament.
The Parliament Lounge. That was a good place.
Sweet Feeling. Checatello played there.
Is that the one on Lyle? Is that the one on Lyle?
No.
No, see, there was
Spenders,
one,
yeah.
But there was one on Lyle, but I used to go see my good friend Pat Proietti at his band Crazy Train. It's an Ozzy tribute band.
Oh, really?
And he's a great guy. He's from Kentucky. And basically what he was doing, though, I didn't realize this, was he was only doing Crazy Train when the Osbournes hit.
Wow.
He said, but he said, biggest problem with me, it was like a double-edged sword because my back was going out, but we're getting all these gigs in Vegas.
Wow.
But in Kentucky, it's so cheap to live. All the guys in the band would, have part-time jobs, and they would make enough money.
Right.
To get these big houses and everything else.
Yeah, I heard the house prices there are out of this world.
When Ruben, he delivered pizzas besides the band. He had this big house. But the only reason he was doing Crazy, he loved the blues and country, and he was doing it to put his kids through college.
Wow.
So once he stopped
Isn't that crazy?
he just was starting to play in local bands and stuff there. But there was man, you got to come up to the Kentucky Derby. It's the best time.
I'll bet. Earlier you were mentioning the fight thing, like a movie. You remember that time we played at the Fountain Blue?
Oh God!
And they had that big
just
fight.
What you're going to talk about? Yeah.
and
these underage kids came in and they went right to the men's room.
Yeah.
And then what's his name? Bobby Grant. Was it Bobby?
I think so.
He went in there because he said this is a little weird. These kids are they look underage. He went in there and they pounced on Bobby.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember guys were going over tables. It was literally like a freaking saloon fight in a Western. I mean, guys were getting knocked over and flying across tables.
We were still playing.
Oh, yeah. Keep playing.
Keep playing. Yeah.
Did you ever have the ones where they threw crap at you on stage?
Never had that.
No. But getting back to that, then remember at the end of the gig, we went outside and there was blood all over the place.
I do.
Yeah, because
they
beat the hell out of these kids outside.
I think they bashed the kid against the guardrail type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was back in the day. And then there was this another... This is another thing, man. This is that whole back in the day of the Johnny Gingillo's guys, and all that. Remember we played at the
Sammy G.
No, the
Oh, that sounds like just the name of it.
We played the Cordial Lounge.
Louis.
My God. And Louis Palizzi.
And we played the Cordial, and remember we walked in on a Saturday, I think it was, to rehearse, and there was no PA. Remember?
Right.
That whole thing?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, too. It's funny you're bringing it up.
Go right ahead.
No. Well, we went, it was actually, we were going to rehearse on a weeknight.
Oh,
because didn't we play Saturday nights or Friday nights or something?
Probably.
We played there once a week, I remember, right? And the PA was gone. Everything was messed up.
We grew up fast.
Yeah. So Louis had an idea who stole this stuff. They stole this stuff during business hours. They just took all this stuff and grabbed it.
Just walk out of a bar.
And Louis knew who did it. And he got all his buddies and baseball bats and went to the guy's house and beat the crap out of them.
Apparently,
stuff back.
Apparently, because we walked in there another day and it was all back.
It was all back.
And we went, what happened? Well, we found the guy, we cornered him in a garage, and
we gave him an offer he couldn't refuse.
Yeah, they tuned him up, so to speak.
There's actually there's a good story. I read Ronnie James Dio's autobiography.
It's good when they're on your side.
And I'm blanking on his real last name, his long Italian last name. He grew up by Cortland, right? So he's doing they would have the residencies in Central New York clubs. Now the reason he picked Dio was he was really into mob movies, and it sounded like a mobster name.
Uh-huh.
So it turns out the one bar they're playing at, the bartender who's connected, he's like, are you related to Jimmy Dio? I guess Jimmy Dio was some big mobster in Florida.
Oh, really?
So he's like, oh yeah, he's my uncle. So he doesn't think anything of it. Then the last 6, Uncle Jimmy heard about this. He's going to come up and see you. So they would always hang out after. He's like, I'm looking. It's our last day. I keep looking in the crowd to get out. But then he says years later he's playing an Elf, and they're in Florida, and they're at they're at a bar, and all this food comes, and it's like, wow, this is neat. Somebody's like, it goes compliments of Uncle Jimmy. So I guess he found the one mobster with a sense of humor.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, Dio, man, God rest his soul. He's such a great singer.
But that's how it was, though. Everybody was playing all those times and everything. But see, that's how you get your amp back. I guess you just ask politely and they give it back to you.
But now, again, history, now it's a different power structure. Now you've got a different bunch of quote-unquote thugs. Because I remember when I was watching some documentary about a band or I forget, I can't remember who it was now. But the guy was talking, and he was like a friend of the artist. And he was an older guy, and he was talking about their whole music business. And he said, well, you know, and then these guys, blah, 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 the way they want to, you know, do your contracts. And he goes, because basically, for lack of a better word, they're thugs. And, you know, and there's a lot of stories about that, too. You got, like, who was it? Tommy James and the Shondells. I heard one of his interviews, and they had a mob thing. That's how they got their record deal. And a lot of these bands, you know.
And, a lot of it, like Alan Klein, Peter Grant, all these guys. Yeah. I remember, which one of them was a Klein or somebody, or Don Arden, who held the guy out the window, like, by his legs.
Okay, I'll sign him.
You know, Peter Grant or whatever, where they thought they liked to be gangsters.
Yeah.
You know, then you think you're dealing with these record companies, though, too, when they're goofing the artists. But what was, like, I used to do doors at bars, and it's changed a little. And the one thing I could find, you'd like the door guys, it's hard to find good ones because you have to have the right temperament. You realize most people don't want to start fights. They want you to talk. It's always like, so they can remain, you know, keep their face but not fight.
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to talk these days. I think those days it was more punch first and ask questions later.
Right.
But what's like any
punch first and have a beer.
Here's a weird trivia question. What's like the one concert you've ever been to that you've seen the most people booted from or most insanity?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one.
No, I have one in my head. I know
where I've seen people getting tossed out is at wrestling matches at the War Memorial.
See, I used to go to them with my dad all the time, and I never remember seeing any of that.
Oh, they take it so serious. People think it's real.
Yeah.
Wrestling's not real.
You know, Ole Anderson just passed away.
Who?
Ole Anderson. He was a really renowned wrestler with the Anderson brothers, but it was more than.
I don't remember that.
Well, he was more
after I stopped.
This was Georgia. No, he was big in Georgia, North Carolina. But the thing was, he said you had to especially watch out for like the old coots. Took a guy stabbed him with a hawk knife, which is got 72 stitches. Has been stabbed like 10 times.
Man.
I remember people threw a chain into the ring once. Remember, I think we were at the wrestling thing at the War Memorial.
Wasn't Eric the Red? He threw a bottle
the Viking
out
guy.
Into the crowd.
It was Martinez or something. Somebody. I don't
Pedro
know.
Morales, maybe.
I don't know. But number one, how do you even get into a place with a chain?
I know.
Probably, you know why? Probably because in those days they didn't search too much or anything.
Yeah.
But I think you ever watch wrestling when it was on local in the 70s?
Yeah.
That's when I used to watch Dick the Destroyer Bear. I remember he would wear his mask. One week some heel hit him over the head with a garbage can. The next week he comes back, he's got a bandage right out his mask.
My father was on the bowling show once.
Oh, the bowling, that was...
Yep.
I remember a couple of our friends...
You talking about Bowling for Dollars?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, my mother was on that.
A couple of my friends, my parents' friends were on there. They fluffed it every time. Nobody... did it well, but there was really good Bowling for Dollars, and I used to watch pro bowling every week.
Ron DeFrance.
Yeah, Ron DeFrance. But Lilac was on down Monroe, wasn't it? The Lilac Bowl or whatever, Olympic Bowl.
Olympic Bowl, Scottsville Roll.
Yeah, Olympic Bowl,
or
Scottsville.
Bowl Roll, maybe.
Because it was the big, big building, like almost by the Wegmans in Pittsford. I thought there was a bowling alley there for some reason.
God.
I probably
Clover Lanes.
Yeah, Clover Lanes.
Oh,
that was
Clover.
And if you hit the lilac pin, you got like a free game.
Oh yeah,
was it the head pin?
You were like a pin setter or something like that.
No, not a pin setter. I was they called us pin chasers.
Oh, pin chasers.
But they were machines. It wasn't. I wasn't setting pins.
Right.
I knew my brother taught me.
I've been here for 35 years.
I have seen those. Does he live back there or something?
What?
Does he live back there, like behind the lane? He's like the phantom of the lane.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, we used to practically go to sleep until the bell rang, and they had a cart. They had 50 lanes, and they had an electric cart. You get on the cart, and you go forward or backwards, and you go all the way to either lane 49 or 50, wherever. It was cool. It was a cool gig.
But I clearly remember the biggest concert for people getting booted seemed like every 5 minutes was Motorhead at the Penny Arcade.
Oh, that makes sense.
And we saw, and it was like was last time I saw Motorhead. All I can remember is Lemmy just had a cigarette in his mouth the whole time, and the sound was horrifying. I mean, I know, I think they knew that Lemmy was deaf by then and didn't care.
Right.
But just about every 5 minutes, you saw the bouncers throwing somebody out.
Oh, I want to get back to the bowling hall.
Yes.
I used to go with my brother to Bowler Road because he used to work there one day a week, and it was a Saturday night, I believe, and they used to put boards on the lanes, and they'd have concerts during the summer. And one of the concerts that we heard was the Showstoppers.
Oh, fun!
And and I got to hear the Showstoppers from behind the lanes and stuff. You know, there was not much going on bowling wise, so, but I got to hear the Showstoppers and.
Strike! I took out 2 amps.
Jay Capozzi was in the Showstoppers and the Brass Buttons,
and
cool. I got to record with Jay. I brought the CD in, so I thought I'd mention that.
It's coming up very shortly.
yeah, it'll be coming very shortly. It's a CD of him singing an Engelbert Humperdinck tune that we recorded at Dynamic Studios called Maybe This Time. So we'll be able to get to hear that after.
Nice.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, get the damn show over with soon. But I remember actually one of my friends sent me a text. He's like, you're never going to believe this. It's like, what? Loverboy's playing at a bowling alley in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Well,
no, but that brings back for me my misspent youth because my parents were big into bowling. And I remember like Dewey Gardens and
yeah.
The only thing, the sense memory I have at Gates, I bowled at Gates, I bowled at Terrace. And I remember like sense memory though, because like you knew this was a sport when you see my mom bowl, put her Manhattan down, put her cigarette thing, and go to the bowl. And I remember it would smell like smoke for a while so bad.
Bowling is cool though. I mean,
every Thanksgiving we used to do. Every Thanksgiving we'd go to Terrace Gardens and bowl.
Yeah.
My mom last bowled at Sunset.
Oh, yeah, Sunset. It was downstairs.
Yeah, and you remember, and I guess like she would go to euchre tournaments there, and we'd go pick her up in the back.
I love euchre.
But remember how they would do, they had the different, like sort of the ball return, like you would see the ball come back and everything.
Yeah. You would see, it's not on, some of the old lanes, it's not underground, it's L&M lane still has that where you see the ball coming back, and that's annoying. It really is.
Yeah, it is.
L&M is a cool place, man. Great wings.
The only thing is I'll never forget that's also historic because for L&M we would go there. I remember like Megan Taylor and Megan's like, I don't bowl. So we're sitting at the bar. So everybody's bowling. One of my friends, we used to go to Hitchcock's right over there.
Yeah.
So we go. And I sent a Christmas card. This is when I lived in Alexandria, and I go, I know maybe you miss people when you go out and everything. It's not like somebody stole your car or anything. So she calls me, and she's like, reads my card. She goes, yeah, somebody did. I guess she came out of Hitchcock's and her car was gone.
Oh, my God.
No, but L&M was fun.
Yeah.
But the only thing I didn't like about bowling in leagues, I'm not like a joiner anyways, some of the people just took it so seriously.
Oh, yeah.
There's one they would throw, I did a little if I sucked because it was embarrassing, but some people would just throw fits every week and everything else.
Right. I did a teen league
when I
was in high school.
Okay, when I did it myself, I would because I would get pissed off at myself.
Yeah.
Or the one especially, you're doing a good game, so you have the easiest spare in the world, and you miss it by like this much.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Then you go to get another beer.
It was frustrating sometimes.
But I did a teen league in high school at North Park Lanes. It was kind of fun. Have French fries at 10 o'clock in the morning, But
I did.
Time.
I remember every Saturday morning we'd go, bowling down at Terrace Gardens.
We bowled at North Park.
Yep.
Yeah, North Park Lanes. They're all gone.
Yeah, Morosco's, all those places are gone.
All gone.
And they were fun. I never liked, I think the world ended when they started doing the electric scoreboards. I mean, you couldn't cheat.
I used to love to keep score because,
I did too.
You brush up on your math too.
I used to do, I would have all those, those Stratomatic baseball games and stuff, and part of the thing was it would brush up on your math because how doing the there's a code how to do the guys on base and stuff and the numbers and everything. But those were fun. See, it's like now we're in a world we never knew.
That's right.
My nephew used to buy the programs. We used to go to Red Wing games, and he used to keep score because they had the in the back of the book they had the where you keep score. Every game he used to keep score.
Yeah, those are fun. I was in the Knothole League for that. We used to actually, by Laser Street, we used to just walk to Silver Stadium.
Oh, sure. Did you know Herm?
No, I don't think so.
You know who I'm talking about, right?
Who?
Herm Schneider.
Probably know who he was if I saw him.
Yeah, he was this little fat kid, and he used to go to all the games, and he became a trainer with the Red Wings, and then he went with Yankees and was an assistant trainer with the New York Yankees.
Wow!
And then I think he's retired now, but he went with the White Sox and he was their main trainer, and he was so good at it that he used to know just what spot to hit for the players to like their backs when they had back problems. He knew just where to make them feel better so they can start playing again.
Wow.
He was so good at it.
You need it for you drummers.
Yeah, I tell you.
Yeah. No,
That's why I have a back rest on my chair.
I got some good. I used to love going to those things. I remember too, like we were there for Pawtucket. We're going to the car, and we hear they're calling up Wade Boggs. And then one of the fun, the guys became Hall of Fame with the Red Sox, who played for Pawtucket.
Right.
We heard that was his last game. But the other funny one was when, Cal Ripken played there.
Yeah.
Real nice game. Mike Boddicker. So Mike Boddicker's signing a program for a friend of mine. He said, I can't sign this. It's like, why? He goes, pen doesn't have any ink in it.
Oh.
But those were the days, and I think the money goes to the head a little bit now. They were a lot more where you'd see them. Like, one of my friends was a trainer for the Amerks, and I used to hang around with all of them in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's a little more, there's more of a line and everything, I think, about everything. And people are fandom's so insane.
Now you got car companies after you, music companies after you.
I know.
Companies.
We'll get back to you for the show. We have so many offers at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
But any last thoughts on you guys playing all these years? What do you think of it? Has it been fun? How are you going to keep doing it till?
Well, yeah, it's fun. You know what it is? I like to, when I'm playing, I love to watch the people because they're so happy. It makes them happy.
You obviously never see me at a show.
No, they're on the dance floor dancing, and it's just a good feeling. And then when you're done with your song, they applaud, and it's a great feeling.
Anybody knows me, like any of the shows, everybody's dancing, and I'm in the corners.
Well, it's nice to bring joy to people.
I'm listening to the freaking song.
I mean, that's how I feel. It's fun to bring joy to people because, like I've said before, people don't really know why they go out. They go out to just do something.
You hit that on the head.
That's different from being at home. So they go out and they want to be somebody do something and make my life better. So they go hear a band and have fun.
Yeah, like those stoners behind us at Nosferatu who were giggling the whole show.
Right? Yeah.
There was a scene, we still make fun of it about when he's carrying his coffin.
We still
like, you see him going down East Avenue or anything? And I think that's true because I never get bored and everything else. And I have to have a reason to go out. And I think some people are just looking for stuff to do, looking for, to go out, have a good time, and they don't really know why.
Right.
Because sometimes I hate when you get the crowds who act like they don't know how to act when they go out.
Yeah, I know.
Or for when I'm going to see a show and I want to hear the music and it's all talking, but...
Well, things are a lot better now. I mean, you still have to be careful with the DWI thing, but I think people are a little more sophisticated.
I don't drink when I go play.
I just don't drink anymore.
Nope. Well, that lets me out. So
well, it's like W.C. Fields. I met a woman once. She drove me to drink. It's the one thing I am thankful for.
I love W.C. Fields.
I do too. I have the whole thing.
Sometime I got to record it.
Next time you're on, we'll do some Fields talk.
I have an album that I found someplace. It's W.C. Fields and Mae West together on this one, and it's just a bunch of different routines by both of them. Oh my God! I'll digitize it and get it.
For your return, as I say, we're always rudely interrupted because we could talk for 5 hours.
That's right.
And next time we'll have a W.C. Fields section.
Oh sure,
an old comedy. I
haven't seen a W.C. Fields movie in a long time.
I used to watch them though. They were on XXI. You'd catch them at night sometimes.
Right.
I just want to say bank dick. There you go. There I said it.
And you know what that actually means? You kids these days know what the term dick means? It's detective.
It's not something you get in a text.
Gross.
Don't Google it, whatever you do.
Thanks a lot for being on.
Oh, yeah.
May the Bluebird of happiness.
I appreciate being on.
Oh, you'll be on again.
All right.
Cool. Unless you get go to a concert and some thugs get you in the bathroom after the show.
I'd like to get the members of the band I'm in back in town, get them in here.
We always welcome everything. Just hit us up.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to reach out and,
Yeah, anytime.
Definitely not. Yeah.
I know a lot of people are intimidated because of the prestige on the show and and everything else, but
I know we're such towering icons of
It's pretty
unapproachabiliness.
It's pretty relaxed, though.
Yeah.
For the most part, yes. I mean, we do probably over the years. Every now and then you get some lunatic or something. Yeah. I mean, besides the hosts.
That's right.
Hey, can I throw a plug?
That's what we're here for.
Sure.
I need the hair plugs, but you can throw a plug. I think he's getting there too. You're
promote away. Yeah, I am.
Come down to My Wine and Cheese this Saturday night, March 9th, because the band Back in Town is playing from 7 until 10. So
where did they go that they're coming back in town?
That's just the name of the band, Back in Town.
And Greg, you're always like,
he knew that.
50 bands now?
50 bands, yeah.
Yeah, everybody wants Greg Andrews.
I do have a cool project I'm doing called the Handle Vandals, which is kind of a rock, soul, jammy thing. It's not like a hippie band, but it's a blues and soul thing. With the guitar players are really good. And I'm doing another band with Susie Willpower and Don Anonymous and Jeff Galino, and that's called Cupid's Boomerang, and we're just pulling a set together and trying to get that.
Great.
Yeah, so gigs are out there.
Did they take the handle from the Dylan song?
I think so.
Because can't use the pumps because the Vandals took the handles, and the way gas costs, I'd be grateful.
But you know what's funny? We don't even have a set together yet, and these guys already got shows. So we have incentive to learn stuff. So
that'd be good. Imagine going to the show, what are we gonna play? Let's. What can we jam one song for an hour for?
That's right.
Yeah, you got a keyboard player?
No.
It's like you're just like him on the show. Oh, you need a drummer.
Well, with Susie's band, her husband is the keyboard. But the other band, no, it's just 4-piece.
Oh, okay.
More money.
There's always good stuff, but come back, see us soon. And everything. Now, you already explained the song. Is everybody listening to what the song at the end's going to be? You want to mention it again for the short attention span
it's an
crowd?
Engelbert Humperdinck song that he never really made famous. It was a fill-in song at one of his concerts, I guess. It's called Maybe This Time. And then there's another song after. I don't know if Andy wants to put it on. It's Let It Be Me. It's and Jay Capozzi sings that in harmony with Lou Rotunno.
Who are the other players besides you?
That's right. I should mention that. Well, Keven Knapp, rest his soul. He's playing a little guitar in it, and John Fransione playing drums.
Okay. Yep, I know John.
Do you know?
Yep.
You know John?
Yep.
And Lou Rotunno, he played bass in the song. Anybody else? I don't think so. I think that's
and I just thought we have to get rid of this. We have to start over. We're sitting in the wrong seats. Yeah. I'll let it slide this time.
Why is that? Why?
We usually...
I'm always at the end.
We're afraid the guest is going to want to run away during the show.
No. Greg wanted to sit in the middle. He wanted me at the end.
You're closer to the door. So.
Yeah, see, now you stayed. Yeah, you're the first.
Yay. Of course I stayed.
Well, may the bluebird of happiness not flop on your car.
Yes. See you next week or whenever we do. Bye.
All right.
I give you love, you turn away and wonder why it is nobody ever stays. You've been hurt, but so's the world been hurt 1,000,000 times before. Don't you close the door, and maybe this time you'll find the other key that opens up another door, and find someone comes back for more. Maybe this time the cards will treat you right, deal a little magic in the middle of some lonely night. Maybe this time I always smile, so cavalier, but what I feel behind the smile's a little fear. I'm just like you, nobody's fool. Whenever someone gets too close, I play it cool. But maybe this time we'll find the other key that opens up another door and finds someone comes back for more, maybe this time. This time you turn to go, but then you hesitate. I wonder, can I make you wait? Aren't we a pair, afraid to care? But maybe this time we'll find the other key that opens up another door and find someone comes back for more, maybe this time. The cards will treat us right, deal a little magic in the middle of some lonely night, maybe this time. This time's for real.
Let